the returning champion.
Hey everybody, we are now in Series 2 of button mashups, so this would be episode 9, and today we have ScareQuotes with Super Turbo. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great, thanks for having me.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, this is, this is probably the fighting game, right? Like this fighting game?
Definitely, it is. If you want to look up fighting game in the dictionary, it's just a giant picture of this game shows up for sure.
Yeah. But this is like would you say this is your favorite fighting game outside of other games that we talked about already?
Ooh, that's a fantastic question. I don't like picking favorites because I appreciate almost all fighting games and love them all, but I would say this is the undeniable fighting game. It is the game that never escapes me. No matter how many times I try to give up, it just keeps coming back.
Nice.
But yeah, let's go ahead and call it favorite.
Sure. It's the one, we at EVO had talked about like what my favorite, about how much I like Street Fighter 6 and whatnot. Oh god.
Yes.
EPs, right? It's not happening for me now. How we talked about like Killer Instinct was like my favorite fighting game, but I was talking about how like Street Fighter was, I think Killer Instinct is that for me, right? Like,
yeah.
Ultimately, it's like I always end up back there, but boy, does Street Fighter have my attention right now.
Sure.
But yeah, so what is it about ST? Jesus Christ! Why did I push play?
Man, there's so many things to talk about with this game. I mean, I think actually right now in the year 2025, as this is being recorded, if you are someone who's playing modern fighting games today and you're kind of frustrated with the current landscape, as many people are, I think that you would find a lot to love in Super Turbo. I think you would say that if you get really into the nit and gritty of this game, there's a lot of problems this game kind of already solved almost 30 years ago that some people are experiencing right now in modern fighting games. And I think with that, it's kind of amazing how this game from almost 30 years ago, more than 1994, still is resilient, still has sauce.
Oh.
But to really answer your question, I would say it's the feeling. You walk away from each match, you just feel like every match is a tug of war. And it accomplishes this not by having lots of mechanics. It doesn't have a guard crush mechanic. It doesn't have a stun gauge, although there is an invisible stun bar. It's very simplistic, but it still accomplishes the things that modern games are trying to do.
Yeah. In terms of... Oop. It's also like fairly... What's the word I'm trying to think here? Like... Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like, there's not a lot of frills to it outside of the I think the things that you can kind of obviously see on the screen. Like, there's a super beater, which I think at this time of this game, that wasn't really. I mean, this was the first, right?
So Art of Fighting was the first game to have a super meter, and then Fatal Fury had it. And actually, fun lore fact, when Super Turbo came out, many of us didn't like Super Turbo because we thought Supers broke the game. Supers just destroyed the meta of the game. Street Fighter 2 should never have Supers. But I would say the way they've done it, as simple as it is, works out pretty well. It's pretty elegant.
I mean, you've shared your fair share of, like, incredible... I guess like tournament videos of this game and the things that you could pull off in this game, or something that is like based around like I don't know, like maybe given your I would call you historian at this point.
Okay.
Like like
I'll
what
take the compliments. I appreciate it.
This is, are we in CPS2 era with this, right?
Yes, we're in the Capcom Play System 2 hardware, correct.
But this is still like a lot of the original code, I'm guessing?
Oh yeah, an entirely different design team worked on Super and Super Turbo. And you can tell they literally just pasted the old code into the new hardware. And that's why some things work and some things don't work.
Is this why Vega is, or Claw, if you will, is broken? Or is that different reasons?
That's possible. I mean, that's why there's so many characters that can't reversal super. It's just not possible.
Oh.
It's a bug. They can't do it. It's why Chun-Li has a super where she can walk forward and at any point just push kick and the super just comes out. Like, there's a lot of bugs in this game.
Interesting.
But that's kind of a wonderful point about this game, is that this game is filled with intentional and unintentional design aspects. Like, there are things the designers intended. There's things that obviously have bugs and problems. But funnily enough, it's the unintentional aspects, some of the broken mechanics, we'll call them, that makes the game more balanced. If it didn't have those elements, it would actually be a worse game without it.
And like, it's this version of Street Fighter that Vega or Claw is completely
Yes,
broken,
correct.
Right?
Yeah. What you're referring to is the ability that he can control the angle of his wall dive at almost any point during the jump.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Street Fighter 2 characters are just not designed to be able to handle extreme, intense cross-ups, and Vega can do that very easily.
Did you just throw me before I hit the ground?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, great. I mean,
nice.
this is the first appearance of like Tensho kicks too, right? I just like saw you do it, and I was like,
that,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They made Chun-Li Guile.
I mean, because even like, when was I keep doing Wind Kick or Tatsu into getting fireballed. Oh wow, the input buffer for that is like interesting.
Yeah.
I felt like I was really slow on that. Huh.
Smooth but fast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I was so blown away by how slow my inputs were on that I totally forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, like, you can definitely tell that, like, I mean, like, this is also like the divergent path. Oh, well, no, it would be like Super, right? It was like the divergent path for Ken and Ryu, right? Where they kind of started becoming different characters.
I would actually say it goes as early as CE. So CE, Ken's DP starts swooping at a different angle. DP. Ryu's fireball's faster. And Ken has a very rapid fire hurricane kick that doesn't knock down, but Ryu's does.
Oh, okay.
So that's like the beginning of it. But I would say this is the ultimate version of that divergence, right? Ken's got crazy kicks. Ryu's got a solar plexus strike. He's got a red fireball. Ryu is the fireball character. He's the only character in this game that has a super fireball of any kind.
Oops. Oh, man. I'm so I think we should call out that we are both playing on a stick because, I mean, you can't play Street Fighter without a stick,
Absolutely.
right?
I mean, obviously play with whatever you want, folks.
Yeah.
But, you know, as someone who grew up during the time, I have to. Yeah.
For the purposes of nostalgia, we have to play on sticks.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we're playing on Guile stage. What a great stage we're playing on, folks. That was all planned, by the way. Joker Bomb did that on purpose.
I did?
Just kidding. No, you didn't. But we're going to tell him you did.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is a great song.
It is. It does go with everything. Ooh, beat my reversal. Nice.
Oh, okay. Crouching medium kick does not get under that.
It sometimes it can, sometimes it cannot. So one of the things about Street Fighter 2 is that block stun is incredibly aggressive. And what you'll find is the moment you block, you're kind of locked.
Oh, nice tensor kicks.
Thank you. And so one of the secret arts of getting better at this game is really not blocking too often.
Just
and actually just tap, or sometimes taking you to hit, or just tapping back to block, and then just moving on. Because you're going to block it regardless, you know?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a secret that I did not know about this game.
Yeah.
I think most of my experience with this game in particular is, sadly, Capcom Fighting Collection. Because I don't think... I think the last... In this era, before I kind of moved on to... or just the game that my family moved on to playing, was Super Turbo, or not Super Turbo, but Super the New Challengers.
Okay.
For the Sega Genesis, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Which I did not have the 8-button or 6-button controller.
Oh boy.
So that made that weird.
Oh, good Super! Look at
that. Oh
that.
Man, I did it! I took a round. All right, this podcast episode is over.
That is a great element of like Super versus Super interaction, and how that's like your only option against certain things. Like you don't have a parry, you don't have an alpha counter, you don't have a guard cancel. Sometimes it's just about how you use that Super.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things about that, because of that simplicity, because it's on a character per character basis, you just feel that character expression.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, man.
Thanks.
Sick.
Still not just tapping to block. Oh. But
it's not as cool as when Chun-Li does it, but it's way cooler when Ken does it.
Oh man. So what? Like, here's a question. Was like, I mean, the best example I have of this is at Evo, where like I sat down at some random cabinet, and you were like, "Oh man, this game rules," and I'm telling you all of the reasons why this game rules right now. And like that was like I mean I knew, you know, when we did the CE tournament on the server, like that you were like very invested, and I was like, I love this, like this is great. And then
awesome.
And then we were sitting at the game was Oscar Buster, which I played on the extra live stream, and I played through the story of that. And
nice.
And you were like, I sat down just because I was like, oh, this looks cool, and like, and you know, it's like weird. This is like 3-button fighting game, and you're like, oh no, yeah, this game is awesome, and also like no one really knows like. I'm not sure if it was like no one knows where it came from, but like
yeah, no one knows who made it.
And
it was found apparently in a warehouse, the board somewhere. Yeah. After Evo, I got a chance to play Gian Ellis in it in a nice fun set.
Oh yeah.
And cool. I don't know much about the game beyond what I've just said, but like it was super fun just to play and figure out stuff, and very cool.
Yeah, it's a great game, and while we're sitting here playing ST, you should play that game too because it rules. But I was just I was so impressed by just like the depth of knowledge you have on stuff.
Oh wow!
And you know, like you and I had a I realize I'm like taking forever to get to this point, but like I guess my question is like, was this a conscious decision, or is this just like years and years of just being involved that you were like, oh, that you took interest in the historian part of the thing?
That's a fantastic question. You should be on Hot Ones. Let's see.
Is it also because of the meandering way I asked questions?
No. It was great. It's a very nuanced question. I would say it's 70% just the reality of having lived through fighting games for as long as I have, having experienced it, having gone to locals and tournaments and traveled across the country since like 1999-ish.
Okay.
70% of it is just that, but there is 30% of just like me going like, wait a minute, there's a deeper story here. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I'm always curious about that. In fact, the reason we're playing Super Turbo today is there was a time when I hated this game.
Really?
I thought this was one of the worst games ever made. It was poorly designed. It's trash. It's jank as hell. It's bad. No one should ever play this game. I was the definition of that guy that would tell people stop having fun. That was me.
Yeah. Okay.
But I learned, as I kept going through life and going to tournaments and playing Third Strike and playing some other games, there was just always this Super Turbo crowd. And I'm like, why? Don't you know that there are better versions of Street Fighter out there? Don't you know that Super Turbo is a jank version of Street Fighter 2? Don't you know? And their answers were different every time. They're like, well, yeah, supers do change the meta of the game, but now there's new things as a result of it. And some of them would say, well, now the Grandmasters are now fully fleshed out, so that's nice. And at a certain point, they do this beautiful thing that I think all great communities do, which is they just stop talking to you. They're like, I don't have to explain myself to you.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And so that 30%, Joker, I would say, is me at a certain point, late 90s, early 2000s, me going, okay, there's got to be something to this game. What is it? And I did a due diligence, deep dive, deep research, and of course, zoom out to 2025. Here we are today.
Here we are today. Yeah, I mean, that... I think we're pretty similar in age, and I would imagine we probably kind of hit that same point in our growing up at the same time, probably. And yeah, I think that's like a very interesting like level up moment as a person. It's just like when you can kind of take something and like even if you don't understand, you can still just be like, oh, well, I get it. I at least get why there's something here that I don't know, right? And being able to just like go, okay, well, what is it? And even if you walk away from it still not understanding, like, at least you did something to try to change your opinion, right? And maybe even like in some way you get like some sort of at least appreciation for it, even if it's still not your cup of tea. But that's not what happened here, obviously. But
yeah, I mean, in one case it becomes one of your favorite games, and then worst case scenario, you find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm basically of the thought that I don't hate any fighting games anymore. At the very least, I just say I don't understand them.
Yeah.
And I would love to understand them more because I spent years hating this game for no reason.
Yeah.
And I was a fool for it. And I'm just like, you know what? I want to save everyone that same trouble if I can help it.
Yeah. And that is a noble goal too. It's something I try to impart upon, like people that are close to me, like my nephew and whatnot. It's just like, yeah,
nice.
Especially in a sense of like, if someone else is doing that and he's like, oh, well, I don't like this. That's made me feel bad. And I'm like, nah, they're just haters. Like not, or maybe not haters. Like that's kind of, that's almost like a defeatist way of saying it. It's just like, oh, well, they're just, that's just what they do. I mean, even though sometimes that's just true, but they're just gonna.
They feel something happening to their ego, so they feel the need to respond in that way.
Right.
And I know because I was there. I was that person.
Yeah. And it was interesting because I think it was Combo Breaker last year. It's kind of a similar situation, but maybe not the exact thing. Whereas like this kid, he played against this Cammy, and like my nephew's still new, he's still learning stuff, and he just destroyed this Cammy. Like just absolutely destroyed him. Yeah. And he walks away, and you kind of walk away from the table, and the guy's like, well, this game's not my main game. He's like, I'm a Smash player or whatever.
Of course.
And I was like, I mean, it's not directly related to the hating on the game aspect of it, but it's still just like that attitude, right? And I just told him, I was like, hey man, like some people are just like this, and you just gotta let it. Like, don't let them rob your win. Like you beat them.
100%.
But yeah, so it's like that's just one of those things that I like. I'm a bit, as an adult, try to keep in mind.
Sure, absolutely. And as you become an adult, become more intentional with your choices in life. And
right.
As an adult, it would be silly for me to go to a tournament, pay money, register my name, and then tell anyone, regardless if I won or not, that, oh, I don't really care about this. Then why did I spend money on this? Why did I put my name on it? Like, that's silly.
Yeah, exactly. it is definitely a different attitude. You know, speaking of like locals and stuff too, it's just like it. I mean, at least around here, because like the local scene's like much smaller, so
Sure.
people are you know, a lot more gracious with their words.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, like you don't see that in those places, but then you kind of like the only places that I have ever encountered that is at like, you know, big tournaments, and it doesn't turn tournaments off for me because that's not what I'm there for. I'm not there to listen to some guy whine. Like, whatever, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that is kind of it's just interesting to see how, like, what, you know, how scale tends to impact. Oh my God, the blocking thing is so true. Like, oh, I can push a button here. No, I'm just stuck. That was a good lesson to learn. Oh, I teched that. I didn't tech that one though.
You can't tech the throw that would kill you. You can't tech it.
Oh, interesting.
It's impossible.
That's interesting.
If a throw will kill you, you can't tech it.
So, what other games do you feel like you would consider yourself a historic, or maybe not historical, but just like an expert in, I guess? Like,
yeah. Let's see. I would say I pretty much have a good catalog of all of Capcom's arcade works from the early days through to about 2001-ish. Actually, you know what? Let's put 2008 there because, you know, I know a bit about Street Fighter 4 and how that kind of happened.
okay.
But like all of them, you know, from the Marvels, from the Vampires, from the early stuff like XX is a game that no one's ever heard of, but it's one of their first, you know, Capcom games they made.
XX.
I know a lot about that. Yeah, it was a space shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it had the Capcom logo for a minute. The Capcom slogan icon was a little robot guy.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah.
X's, yeah.
Okay.
I know all about that. I'm getting more and more enriched in SNK, early SNK stuff from back in like '85 before the Neo Geo even existed to about 2000. I know a bit about that.
Interesting.
And I'm right now learning a lot more about Namco fighters and, you know, Sega fighters. I've always had an interest in Virtua Fighter and so forth. So I like to know a lot of things. Oh, Guilty Gear. I know a lot about Guilty Gear, like OG Guilty Gear.
That's because it has Street Fighter roots, if I am correct, right?
Yes. I've always told people, I truly believe, if you look at the design of Guilty Gear, A, it has a lot of DNA in Super Turbo, but B, it just feels like Super Turbo 2.5. Like, it's just Super Turbo on steroids.
I don't think I've actually played. Oh no, well, I mean, played is maybe saying a bit much, but I got it, or I have it on my Mister, I believe. I don't know why I did that twice. Man, Ken's heavy or fierce kick is good.
Yeah,
Rise feels bad.
And I know he's got a dash now. Forward heavy punch is a dash.
Oh, that's right, because the did we run out of quarters?
Yes, you got to keep putting quarters in.
Oh, there we go.
We've played so long, the game lost quarters. The definitive tournament standard of Super Turbo is the Japanese version. And the Japanese version, another bug, doesn't have free play.
Oh.
It has no free play function whatsoever.
So someone's standing there with a oh, there it is. There's the
there it is. Yeah.
The classic. Oh, you know, I'm looking at Ryu here, or Ryu, because I keep doing that. Because you know, my 12-year-old brain still is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But you look at Ryu, and then you look at Soul Bad Guy, and you go, yep. He's got the headband. You know, he's got the headband. He's got the gauntlets. I don't know. And
there's a bit of Terry and a bit of Ken in it. So Daigo was like, hey, I just want all three of those characters in one character.
Yep. Because why not? But so why is the Japanese version the definitive version of the game?
There's a few very small but kind of significant reasons. The first off is that Zangief, within the first 9 seconds of a round, if he headbutts you in the air, it's an instant dizzy in the Japanese version.
Oh, okay.
But only the first 9 seconds, and that is removed from the American version.
Interesting.
Generally speaking, the American and the Japanese versions play similarly, although some people swear the Japanese version has a better feel to it. I don't know if that's true. That's what they say. But the truth is, there was a time when the United States was king of Street Fighter, like from Champion Edition to Hyper Fighting. We were the best Street Fighter players in the world. James Goddard from Capcom USA is credited as letting some game centers know in Japan, because they asked him, like, hey, why are you so good at this game? Like, we designed this game. Like, we are the mecca of Street Fighter. And James Goddard said, well, all of our game centers, it's side by side. And so we talk to each other after each match. And in Japan, very rarely was it side by side gaming. So he influenced a lot of game centers to start having some arcades have the game centers be side by side.
Oh.
Add to that the fact that it took a while for Japan to get into the competitive scene of Street Fighter 2. Like, they were slow to it. And they didn't get Hyper Fight. Well, they got Hyper Fighting, but it was a very muted release. Whereas America was like a big deal that we got Hyper Fighting. Okay. And their big game became Super Turbo. Like, that was like the ultimate version of Street Fighter. And so then America got into this place of, even if you liked Hyper Fighting more, which back when this game came out in 94, there was a lot of us that did not like this game. We liked Hyper Fighting better. We had to accept the reality that Japan was better at us at this game, and we wanted to beat them at it. And so we're going to get good at Super Turbo. We're going to play the Japanese version if we possibly can, and that's going to be the standard.
Excuse me. The slow to the, like, competitive scene, like, I mean, is that just in, like, Street Fighter 2 period the end, or is that, like, Super Turbo specifically?
It's Street Fighter 2. So Capcom works on Street Fighter 2. They actually spend 5 years on Street Fighter 2. Like, imagine spending 5 years on a video game in 1991.
Yeah.
That's, like, unheard of. And the reason why it took them 5 years is that, you know, originally they were going to make a sequel to Street Fighter 1, but then the chip shortage happened in the 80s, and they couldn't afford to make the game they wanted, so they made Final Fight, which was like a bridge game between the two. That was known as Street Fighter 89 in early production before it got changed to Final Fight.
Which is now, is this why Metro City is just canon in the Street Fighter lore?
Yep. Okay. That's why Final Fight and Street Fighter are in the same universe. But then they finally got the opportunity to finally make Street Fighter 2. And they were assuming it was going to be this big mega hit. And then they did playtesting in Japan, and Japan kids didn't like it.
Really?
And not only did they not like it, they didn't really embrace the 2-player mode of it. They kept playing it as a single player, you know, 1 credit clear type of game.
Okay.
So that makes Capcom go into a panic. They are freaking out because they put all this money into this game. It's not going to work out, it looks like. So they shorten production. They make a very small scale release in America for the first version of Street Fighter 2 called World Warrior.
Yep.
And then something amazing happens. Americans eat it up. Americans love the competitive aspect. They literally don't have enough machines to make. That's how high the demand is. You know, people are, I don't know if you remember this, but like, I remember going to 7-Elevens and there would be a circle around the entire block of people just trying to play the one Street Fighter 2 game.
That is interesting. That was, we didn't have 7-Eleven where I lived.
Gotcha. Okay.
But, I mean, we had an arcade in town. And, I mean, let's see, what was this? 91?
Yeah.
So I was 7, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was an arcade in town, and it was there, and I was like, I kept walking by it because I was a 7-year-old kid. My parents were into the idea of martial arts and martial arts movies, so I'm seeing these like this fighting game, and my dad was just like, no, you should just try it, and so I did, and now here I am.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but like that I get it, right? Like the I mean that kind of ends up giving you NRS too, right?
100%. Yeah.
When it comes down to it.
Yeah. And you'll remember when World Warrior came out, the cabinets were small, they weren't big.
Yep.
And the
not
reason,
like that
again,
Street Fighter 1 monstrosity.
Right. So what they had done is they made Street Fighter 1, and then they made a smaller run of Street Fighter 1 machines with 6-button controls.
Yeah, I did see that.
They bought back a lot of the Street Fighter 1 Revision 2 machines and just plastered World Warrior art on it and called it a Street Fighter 2 machine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that wasn't uncommon for Capcom because Capcom was actually an independent developer at this time. Their main niche, they couldn't compete with like Sega with their big, massive games. But what they could do is they say, hey, look, we'll make a game and you can always just swap out the board and just change out the art and it's a brand new game. That was their market. That was their... That's how they kind of funneled into that market.
Essentially the proto SN or like MVS, if you will.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Then MVS kind of does it better, basically, and creates a domestic model with the AES. So Street Fighter 2 is super popular in the first, in America. Like, it is hotcakes. It becomes a situation where they literally can't meet demand. And Capcom has already, internally, they've moved on. They're not going to focus on Street Fighter anymore. They think, you know what, screw this. It was kind of, I'm glad it's making money in the Americas, but we still consider it culturally a failure because Japan isn't liking it that much. And, we want to make other games. So they make this little game called Captain Commando. And Captain Commando, if you've ever seen a machine, not many people have, is this big, giant machine, awesome, amazing buttons, super cool. No one plays it. Why? Not because it's a bad game. It's a great game. It's because no one cares. They just want to keep playing Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter. All right,
so it's the American market that forces them to make more versions of Street Fighter 2 and says, we want more Street Fighter 2 machines. And so Capcom says, okay, if we're going to make more machines, hey, Akira Nishitani, the director of Street Fighter 2, can you do that? And it's like, oh, yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we can add some additional features like, we can allow you to play the bosses. We can give you mirror matches, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right, because there was no mirror matches in World Warrior.
There was no mirror matches.
That's right.
And they said, oh, yeah, let's do that for that new vision and get it to me in like 3 weeks. It was a very quick turnaround time. Little did they know, Akira Nishitani had already made that version of the game. It was like a director's cut of the game.
Interesting.
But he just didn't tell anyone.
Like a good director does.
Yeah. And then, from there, you see all the big blue machines, the big giant Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition machines.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many of them, because that's when demand was like, we need more of these.
Okay. Interesting.
So sorry, I think you had a couple questions. I interrupted you, but I just wanted to tell that full story.
No. I actually that might have answered some of them. Oh, sorry. So, oh God, stunned now. With so that's what I was trying to get at. Sorry, is like Rainbow Edition kind of is part of this problem, right? Too, where they need more Street Fighter, and we've got now bootleg Street Fighters because America and its bootleg ROMs.
Yeah. So Champion Edition comes out, and this is a really important fact to have. And I remember saying this in one of the tournaments we did. I forget the exact number, but it comes out 4 to 5 months before Japan gets Champion Edition. Okay. Now I want you to just really think about that.
Yeah.
America gets Champion Edition 4 to 5 months before Japan does. Again, because Japan, it wasn't a hot thing in Japan. But then once Japan gets Champion Edition, and once they have conversations with some Capcom USA employees, and once some really high-level players travel to Japan starts going, oh, okay, and they start getting into the competitive scene.
Gotcha. Okay.
So America has Champion Edition for a long time, 9 months. We're playing good old Champion Edition, and there's a couple revisions here and there, but it's the same old Champion Edition. And obviously, Capcom can't keep up with demand. And obviously, if you're entrepreneurial kind of sort, and you know that the Capcom Play System 1 system doesn't have any copyright or any kind of protection of any kind, you're going to hack it, you're going to backwards reverse engineer it, and you're going to make Rainbow Edition. And there's something like 380 different versions of Rainbow Edition out there.
Oh my God.
Everyone's played some kind of different version of Rainbow Edition.
Oh man, I almost got that.
And what's fascinating about this is that Capcom Japan was starting to get a little worried about it. Hey, you're playing a Rainbow Edition. Is that going to interfere with our sales? They weren't sure. So they say, hey, James Goddard, you're a Capcom guy. You're also a really good fighting game player. Just go out and explore and just tell us, hey, is Rainbow Edition a threat? And James Goddard plays Rainbow Edition at some bar. He found it. And he's like, nah, this is crap. It's one of the worst games ever. It's poorly balanced. It's stupid. There's fireballs everywhere. It's dumb.
Okay.
Or at least he's about to. But then before he does that, he pops in a quarter into good old Champion Edition just to make sure, and he finds out a very scary problem, which is, oh crap. Once you play Street Fighter 2 fast, it is really difficult to go back.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And he changes his entire call in his letter and says, hey, look, I do think we need to make a version of Street Fighter 2, a new one. It should be faster. And on top of that, James Goddard was a really good player, like a really strong Zangief player. He knew all the matchups. He played with Tomo Hiro. He played with LA Akuma. He played with the best players. And it's like, I have a list of proposed changes to the balance of the game, and here's what I suggest.
And then not champion.
Hyper fighting.
Hyper fighting.
But hyper fighting doesn't happen immediately because there's two things happening. Because after Champion Edition Joker Bomb, they were already working on Super.
Oh, okay.
So imagine an alternate universe where hyper fighting never happened, but we went from Champion Edition to Super.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people's concerns about Super is really because of how it compares to hyper fighting. But if we had never gotten hyper fighting, Super would have been a much lauded version of the game.
Okay. Interesting.
And as you know, Super runs at about the same speed as Champion Edition. It's got new characters and all that good stuff. But the thing is, and this is where things get shaky because I've read so many different interviews where literally people have changed their story a couple times, so it's a little dicey.
Interesting.
But it seems to be that Akira Nishitani, still the main director of Street Fighter 2, he did not want Street Fighter 2 to ever be fast. He did not design it to be that way. And he's reported in saying in like 1992, once you make it about speed, it becomes about reactions. And that's not what I ever wanted Street Fighter 2 to be about.
Okay. Interesting. What? I'm like, it's been a long time since I think I've touched like World Warrior in any like sort of fashion. Although I mean, I guess I've played my fair share of Champion Edition at this point.
Sure.
But I think, yeah, because was the SNES, because the game that I owned was like I actually owned, because I think I rented Super Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I owned the SNES version of Street Fighter 2.
Yep.
So that would be, what version is that then? Is that Hyper Fighting?
That is hyper fighting, but it also includes Champion Edition in it. It included both versions.
Okay. I think my well, I guess at that point 9-year-old self did not know that, but
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of people don't, but it includes, if you go to the title screen, there's turbo mode and then there's normal mode, and normal mode is just
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think, honestly, you know what I think probably happened is I did that once and I was like, wow, this sucks.
Yep.
and then just played the hyper mode because that was way better. This also, I think, just an interesting thing about Street Fighter and the zeitgeist of it at the time was like, this is the era of like Mortal Kombat, like secrets and stuff, right? So you're just like, when I mean, obviously I played this well before I ever touched on Mortal Kombat, but it was just like, oh, like if I hold back and press forward, because I played Guile because if you wanted, we were discovering the super moves as we're going or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, how did I do that? And then you're like trying to figure it out, and like it was just, that was the era of games in general at the time, right? Is like,
yeah, you didn't know how to do anything. You just figured it out, or someone told you, or someone hid the arcade stick from you. They were covering their hands up a little bit. We used to play games where we would slap the control panel in weird places to make you think we were pushing buttons when we weren't.
Oh,
yeah, we were nuts. Yeah, we were crazy.
But it was just like it was just like an interesting, again, I guess I think it's almost like a boutique thing for that to be in any sort of video game now. We were talking about like maybe Blueprints isn't like a great example of this concept, but like, or Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a perfect example of this.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh.
Right.
If you say Super Turbo is a Dark Souls of fighting games, I'm gonna hate and I'm gonna love you at the same time. I can't decide.
I wasn't going to say exactly that. It's just like you don't like because I think this is the boomer ass statement, but whatever. That's the server that this is being posted on.
Yeah.
The internet kind of kills that, and I think in a lot of ways, and I think it's like kind of amazing that like something like Dark Souls like even got to exist in that sense, because I mean the internet still ruins Dark Souls, like don't get me wrong, but that was a very pretentious statement. That's not what I meant. But like it where the idea of like don't spoil system mechanics to me because I want to learn them on my own.
Yeah.
It like became like whereas like if you spoiled something like that, then it's like, or now I mean it's like what the hell, man, like you ruined the game for me. Where like this is just like like you said, it's just like you're sharing it with your schoolyard buddies or at the arcade. Or you're hiding it from other people.
Or you're lying and telling them something that's wrong. Yeah,
Yep.
there was a lot of that.
But it's just an interesting part of that era. Actually, another game that does do this that I do need to ask you about.
Yeah.
Is Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is another one of those games where like things happen and you're like, I'm not sure why this is happening or why like like there's that I guess curiosity aspect to Metal Gear, and like I think it's another well, I don't know, I would almost say that when we get to Ground Zero's era of Metal Gear kind of goes away.
I think what you're saying, like there's a desire behind the designers. They want you to have your moment of discovery.
Yeah.
They do not want to, tell you everything that's in the game right away.
Right.
And, I'm not going to say the internet ruins everything, but I mean, there's that element of like modern games. It's the moment a game comes out. Okay, what's the tech? How do you do this? How do you do that? Like it's elevated, and that's fantastic. But before any of that, there was, we didn't even know there was tech. We're like, I just want to be able to beat you. How do I do it? And it's like, wait, you just did a fireball. How do you do a fireball? And then in later times, people found out ways to cancel the crouching the crouching like light kick into a standing heavy punch. I'm like, how is that possible? And that became the progenitor of Marvel games, right? But like, just discovering that was just, whoa.
Yeah, and some of it could just be like the boilerplateness of everything, or like fighting games have a template for the most part, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
and then you kind of iterate on the template, depending on what it is, right? Obviously, like 3D games have their own rules, and 2D games have their own rules, but like for the most part, like we were just talking about like Guilty Gear, and it's like. Yeah, Guilty Gear behaves a lot like, other 2D games, but then you add in the things that make it Guilty Gear, right?
Right. Yeah. There's a foundation. Yeah.
And I think that when you start designing things that way, I'll finish my thought and then I'll equate it to something else. But like when you start designing things that way, it becomes very easy to adapt, right, to the new thing.
That's true,
or whatever.
yeah.
One of the argument or the thing I was going to say is like, it's no secret on FGCB that I am a huge board game person. And sometimes you play board games with people who, because even board games are infinitely approachable, right?
Yeah.
And you play board games with people, and like they'll just like, oh, I got this new game, and I want to play it with you, and you're like, oh, great, and then you're like already kind of like they're explaining it, and you're like, yeah, I get it, and
you've played a million games like it,
because
how it works, yeah,
it's just like, oh, this is just a worker placement
names.
game, yeah, okay, great, oh, here's these little nuances, and like it, I think that is kind of where some of that like stuff kind of gets born out of. is like
Absolutely.
is I mean, yeah. It's like at a certain point you kind of have an understanding, and then it's kind of adjusting from there. It's kind of like I think maybe one of the strengths of like fighting games in a lot of ways is like you can pretty much sit down at most of them and be like, if you know what you're doing, you're just like, all right, I'm in. I can do these things. Great.
If you learn the language of fighting games, and language I'm using in quotes, like it's a lot of different things, but if you learn how to play it, the general flow and floor and fauna of fighting games, you're pretty much set.
Yeah.
And tying it back to Super Turbo is the foundation of 95% of fighting games, Street Fighter or not. If you play Super Turbo and you play it to a pretty competent level, you've got the juice to play almost any other fighting game in the world. And I would even argue the better you get at Super Turbo, the better you get at other games.
Interesting. So what you're saying is I have to put in a deep training regimen of Super Turbo.
Not gonna lie, when I was getting knee deep into Super Turbo and trying to really get good at it, so Super Turbo has a bug where it has frame skipping.
Okay.
Because Capcom Japan hadn't figured out how to truly make the game run faster. Like, how do you do that? So they would just delete frames every once in a while.
Interesting.
And the interval, I believe on Turbo Speed 3 on the Japanese version, it's like every third frame, every fourth frame, something like that. And so you have to be careful because even if your execution is tight and perfect, sometimes your move won't come out.
I'm noticing that.
Yeah. It's a very tight game. So
I was trying to do the same thing. I was trying to do that.
Yeah, you have to not just have perfect execution, you have to have resilience for when things go wrong.
Yeah. That is all right. That is a lesson I do need to take away as a person in general.
If you're Ken and you do air perfect, like pixel perfect, no spacing at all DPs, if you do 7 jab DPs, I think it's the 7th or the 8th DP always fails.
Oh, we talked about this. I don't remember where it was we talked about this, but yeah, maybe that was during our we were playing Alpha 2 for 4 hours at Evo. Maybe that's what that was. So you've got some of your inputs get deleted, right? But then on top of that, the input buffer is variable between 7 and 15 frames. Interesting.
Meaning, randomly, sometimes you have about 7 frames to do a move, and randomly, sometimes you have 15 frames. And anywhere in between.
Okay.
So you have to basically learn how to do every move within 7 frames to get the maximum amount of return. And then you have to learn how to delay your move a little bit, like by a fraction of a hair, to make sure it almost always comes out.
Okay. Interesting.
Like we're talking 1 frame. Like you delay it by a second, like it's a microsecond, just to try to thwart off the input buffer deletion.
Interesting.
But even if you miss, if you drop a DP, you drop a combo, you go to a high-level tournament, you think these guys never drop this stuff. No, they still drop it every once in a while. And sure, they get a little, they frown, but they're like, yep, that's just the game.
Yeah.
That is what it is. And you just have to, again, it's resilience for that.
That was the coin button. I couldn't remember which one it was. That's odd in a way.
Yeah.
Is it like I was gonna say it's like hardware limitation, but they were designing the hardware.
It's a programming error, 100%. It's not intentional. Fun fact: hyperfighting doesn't have that problem.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the reasons why back in the day I hated Super Turbo. I was like, no, hyperfighting's better. It doesn't have that problem.
Gotcha.
And Anniversary Edition doesn't have that problem.
Huh.
Because it's a fixed version of Super Turbo, right?
Oh, yes. Is this the fixed Anniversary Edition? Is the fixed version?
Basically. Another engineer at Capcom basically went in and kind of cleaned up some of the code.
Oh, okay. So this is not the fixed version that...
Right. We are playing good old Super Turbo right now. We're playing the real deal.
What I was meaning was the Super Turbo or version that we don't speak of. Is that the Anniversary Click? No. Wait, no. Is it? There's one that's
HD Remix.
Is that? That's what it is. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's based off the Dreamcast port.
Gotcha.
which also has some fixes in the base code, but they tried really hard to make it as close as possible.
Gotcha.
But anyway, yes, it is incredibly weird. They don't make games like that anymore, but what's really cool is that if you can kind of embrace that about this game, because they're not making updates anymore. It's 1994. You just come up, you kind of laugh more at some of the more modern problems that happen sometimes. Like,
yeah,
you don't catastrophize dropping a combo anymore. Like, whatever.
Yeah, so it happened.
I mean, I get it though. In the modern context, there's no reason why you should ever drop a combo. Combos are easier than they've ever been. Linking and canceling is easier. There's no random input barrier, right? There's no random dropped inputs. It doesn't exist.
The game's
so
not
I get
just deciding it's not going to come out.
Right. But in Super Turbo, it's like, yeah, it just happens.
Yeah. Interesting. The difference in versions are always like an interesting thing to me, and I found myself with you in my head this weekend actually, where I was buying some games, some retro games for this fun retro space that I'm building.
Nice.
And one of the things I saw, there was a copy of, what was it? It was it Third Strike? I don't think it was Third Strike. I wouldn't have been that lucky. There was a copy of, maybe it was, yes, Third Strike was involved.
Okay.
It was the PlayStation 2
Anniversary.
Yeah, it was the
edition.
yeah, and it had it's got Third Strike and
Yep.
Is it ST? Is it Third Strike?
It's
and
Anniversary
ST?
Edition. It's hype.
Yeah.
It's Anniversary Edition.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And I was like, oh, do I buy this? Like, this feels like I shouldn't buy this.
It's a great deal. There are better versions of both those games available, but it's a great deal. And you know what? A lot of people's first experience with Third Strike was that collection, because it was like $20 or $30 when it came out, like launched.
Oh.
Imagine a game at $20 MSRP on PS2 that includes basically Super Turbo and then all of Third Strike on one disc.
Yeah, that's
You
pretty
can't
good.
beat that deal.
So what you're saying is I should have bought it.
For historical posterity. If you buy the American copy, it has a very blurry but a very serviceable downloadable version of Street Fighter II: The Animated Movie on the disc.
Oh, interesting. Very blurry, but
It's
like
a little
that.
bit better than VHS quality, but not much. But hey, it's cool. It's a nice little extra.
Yeah, because PlayStation 2 and it like that's probably VCD era too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So hyper compressed. It's funny you mentioned that because I was at there's two retro game stores nearby me, and I was at the one that's closer to me, and I was only there because I wanted to buy a component cable for my Wii, and I was walking around and I saw this like weird Street Fighter 4 thing on the wall that I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, what is this? And it was for Xbox 360, and it's the collector's edition movie.
That's right. There was a Street Fighter 4 movie. That's right.
That runs only on the Xbox.
Only on the Xbox.
You
That's
can't
correct.
put it in your DVD player and watch it.
That was back in the day when 360 was really trying to be that HD DVD beat the Blu-rays, right? Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, I have to buy this.
Yeah, you did. I agree. That was a smart, conscientious decision.
It was very funny. And then the lady that owns the place, I was decked out in like I think a jury T-shirt and a combo breaker jacket, and here I am buying a bunch of fighting game things. And she's like, I have this random fight stick if you want it. And I was like, well, yeah, let me see what it is. And it's I'll take a picture and send it to you offline. But it's like a weird Xbox One fight stick. But I cannot remember the name of it. It's right next to me. What is this thing called? Before I walk in. It is the Gamester arcade stick.
Huh,
and it looks miserable to use. But I have it now.
Nice.
So I wanna go back to Metal Gear really quickly.
Yeah, let's go back.
Because there's the thing I have to ask.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So it is another well-known.
Just to be clear to the audience, I'm also a Metal Gear head, and
Yep. So that's where this is going.
I love Metal Gear. I have so many awesome. I know a lot of the development lore of that game too, and like all the games. Like we could talk forever about that, but for right now, Street Fighter. Let's hear the connection. I can't wait.
Okay. Oh, there is actually. It's more of a ScareQuotes connection than a Street Fighter connection.
Okay.
So you wrote your dissertation, or not dissertation, your thesis in college on Metal Gear Solid 2.
Correct.
I gotta know what the theme of that thesis is.
So my degree was I have a double major in English and philosophy.
Okay.
And my degree in English is specific towards unreliable narration.
Ooh, okay.
And so obviously MGS2 is like ripe with that, right?
Oh yeah.
And this was during a time when, we didn't know what the word meme really meant. And so it was discussion about how we communicate memes in both our words and how an author chooses what characters to say what words to you and how that has an implant on your brain and how that impacts you.
Okay.
Because it was about narrative choices, right? It's not just, I can read a book about this, but they decided, hey, let's have this character, Roy Campbell, be GW or the voice of GW. Let's arguably decide, is Rose real, is Rose not, that kind of thing. Let's have the game literally break at the 11th hour. Let's literally give you the framework for the Metal Gear Solid story in structure, but then completely destroy your expectations and make you dissatisfied and do that on purpose.
Yep.
So stuff like that. Yeah.
And he kind of almost does that twice with Metal Gear Solid 3, although you kind of get that payoff much
You
sooner.
get a payoff. It's a nice little... I would argue, I didn't talk about it in my paper because I was just focusing on the one game, but I would argue there's a few elements of MGS3 that actually destroy the initial message he had in 2. And that's a common theme with Hideo. He's a really great disruptor, but he's really bad. He doesn't have a backbone. He gets really sensitive when his audience doesn't like what he made for them. And so he will absolutely go back on things. And you see that in MGS3.
Yep.
You see it a lot in MGS4.
Literally the ending of MGS4.
100%, yeah. And it's unfortunate because I think he's actually a pretty good storyteller if he just had a backbone.
For sure.
And just stuck to it.
I haven't played Death Stranding for reasons.
Okay.
Mostly just because like I fear the disappointment.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't played it either, but I've had so many friends tell me, no, you have to play it. Trust me.
Yeah, I've had that too.
It's worth it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And at some point when I have enough chunk of time where I can be uninterrupted, I'm absolutely going to give it a go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the reason too, is like I understand like what that thing is and how much time, like I'm an MGS4 apologist. I understand what it is to play a Kojima game unedited.
Yep.
So, it's like, yeah, okay, I could do this, but that's the only video game I'm playing for like the next month.
Yeah, and MGS4, not to make this an MGS4 section, but that's the game where his old co-writing partner left. And you can feel it in the writing. Like, the writing is so demonstrably different in MGS4 versus 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. And then that kind of continues on to, everything Metal Gear Solid with Kojima's name still on it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that I enjoy Phantom Pain, but as soon as I got to the point where I saw credits, which we know, that means nothing in a Kojima game sometimes.
Sure.
I was like, okay, I'm done with this game. So I didn't do any of the Outer Heaven stuff afterwards. I was like, nah.
Gotcha.
Nah, I'm good.
I will say, I think Phantom Pain is Kojima's second attempt to try to do MGS2.
That makes a ton of sense, especially
like structurally. He's trying to do it again, but like do it in a way that doesn't piss a lot of people off. It's more of a gamer's game.
Yeah, that is true. Like that.
Whereas MGS2 is literally a middle finger to you as the player constantly. It's great, but like you have to embrace that. You have to be ready for that.
Oh man, I had a friend who straight up was just like, I'm never playing another Metal Gear Solid game ever again after playing Metal Gear Solid 2. And I was like,
Yeah,
well, that's
a lot of people feel that way.
That's an ignorant position to take, but okay.
Yeah.
This is the same friend who also stopped watching Akira once the Milk Bear showed up, so, you know.
Oh, okay.
So, surrealism, not really a thing for this person.
Oh, you see what happened
That
just
was-
there? I did my super.
I
and
did.
You ate it. You ate my super.
Oh, I still lost.
So in Super Turbo, simultaneous super activations can't happen. So it's random who gets it. If it's on the same exact frame, it's random who gets it.
Oh, interesting.
And so there, because of this, let's go this a little bit further. So because there's all these random elements, there's this desire to delay your actions a little bit to be a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Like if I had delayed my super activation just a touch, I might have won that interaction.
Oh, I see.
But if I delay it too much, the game is so fast paced, I'm dead.
Yeah. Is it first like first in first out for? Oh, no, it would be first in last out for supers in this.
Last always wins.
Okay. Yeah.
With a couple exceptions, like Honda's super is better if he's earlier, but
Interesting.
that's that dynamic where I said about that tug of war dynamic. This game just does it where you're always delaying your actions just a touch to see if you can come out on top. But if you do it too much, you're dead.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah. And you can look at that two ways. You can go on paper and go, you know what, ScareQuotes, this is the most bogus, bullshit, terrible design game ever. Or you can look at it where, you know what, how do I feel at the end of the day? Like, is my heart pumping? Am I sweating? Am I exhilarated? Do I want to keep playing afterwards? And I think that lens, the latter is the one I want to answer, and that's the one that makes it interesting and worth playing.
My question is, can Ken still delete a three-quarters of your health bar from close heavy punch to DP in this?
Yes.
Really? I mean, I guess it's
although,
still the same code, right?
you got to be careful because usually the third hit will whiff.
Okay.
But actually, his crouching short into super does 70 to 80% of your
Oh, okay. So it's not that move specifically,
right.
but it's you're into super.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's maybe one of my favorite things about Champion Edition is
how high damage is. Yeah.
But it's like Ken can like two touch you specifically.
Yep.
I don't know about anybody else in that game because the other person I play is Ken.
And then Dictator in CE, he has an infinite that only works on block stun.
Yeah,
the moment you start blocking, that's the infinite.
that I think I experienced at that tournament.
Yeah.
Great. But yeah, these games for sure are probably some of like I don't know. It's like it's wild to me that this game in particular. I know we're like jumping back and forth on topics or whatever, but that's what this podcast does. I don't care.
Yeah, that's all good.
It's a conversation. It's not a rigid interview show. I'm not Hot Ones.
You might be.
I might be. Oh god damn it! What was I saying? Before I was being ridiculous there. I don't remember what it was. Man, that's a bummer. I'll remember when I'm editing.
Something about the resilience of the game. It's
Street. Yeah. I just think like ST, like you said, is like I mean, granted, there's like a competitive scene for most of these games still, but like this one in particular is just like it's funny. It was Texas Showdown maybe, where it's just like it just randomly showed up on my timeline, and on like YouTube that like this is being played, and I sat and I watched it, and like listening to the commentators talk. It's like, I've been to Combo Breaker and I've been to a bunch of majors and looking at a lot of like the retro, like the community games, if you will, or the arcade pass games, if you will.
Right.
It's like it's usually the same people, but like this, like of all the videos of it, you hear the commentators be like, oh yeah, no, this guy's like new to the scene. He's been like, we saw him back at this event over here when it's like first time we saw him, and he's like, this guy's got a really like tight dictator or whatever, and I was like, man, it like that happened more than once.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's interesting to see that kind of stuff, and like I think the best part about Capcom Fighting Classics is that part, right? Like.
Absolutely.
It's like we kind of have like the rebuild of like interest in like CVS and I don't know what the honestly if my YouTube algorithm means anything in terms of this, it's like people are just playing CVS 2 now, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
But which is like sad for me because I would love to see Alpha 3 get more love in that sense, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. It's fine. I'm not mad about that.
You bring up a good point. Gold Card Jack, who's probably the best Guile player in Super Turbo right now, I think he just turned 29.
Oh my god.
Like, he is younger than when the game came out, and he is probably the best Guile player. I had an opportunity to play him a couple times, both in France as well as in New York, Brooklyn. He's a machine, man.
That's really cool.
It is flippin' cool. Like, this game is... I think Gianella said to me, there's just something about this game. It's like there's something about Mary. There's just something about this. They got it right.
Yeah.
And if I can, if there's one thing that people often talk about when they talk about this game and how old it is, like, oh, there's no dashes. Like, there's no dash. But walk speed is really fast.
Yeah.
And the designers were really careful. Every character has some kind of special move that moves them forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess this is Ken's DP would be that one in this one, right? Or I mean, if you're not counting Tatsu.
And his crazy kicks and his Tatsu,
oh,
right?
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Every character has something that does that. And because it's a move that they have to use and it's unique to them, it's character expression. As opposed to a universal mechanic that everyone has access to.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, in the year 2025 especially, I think a lot of people are craving that right now.
Yeah, that's fair. It's I'm trying to think. Alpha 3 is the first time dashes get put in, right?
Alpha 3 has no dashes.
No, Alpha 3, it's Third Strike then, right?
Street Fighter 3,
or 3, or Vault 3. Yeah, sorry.
New generation, yeah.
Interesting.
And then technically, if you want to be pedantic, the Marvel series added it first.
Yeah, I'll be pedantic.
X-Men versus Street Fighter, Ryu and Ken, they had dashes. And then Chun-Li had an air dash. Ooh, the first air dash.
She's the anime character. Oh, so what you're saying is X-Men versus Street Fighter is an anime game.
Yes, it is.
I mean, in a way, it kind of is. Not just because X-Men and it's heavily influenced by a certain. I don't know. That's a controversial opinion, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. I get you.
I don't want people on the server getting like mad at me because I called X-Men versus Street Fighter an anime game. That game is miserable. Oh no.
Yeah.
No, what did I play? Was it X-Men versus Street Fighter? I don't know. I played. No, it was Children of the Atom. That game is miserable.
Oh yeah, I love that game, but I hear you.
Silver Samurai was such a pain in the ass. It's still fine. I'm being. If I was playing it in a competitive situation, it would be different. But I was playing against the computer, and that dude cheated.
Sure.
Okay, that is me being salty. There we go.
Nice.
So what's the furthest you've traveled for any sort of fighting game related thing?
Probably France. I was in France last year.
Which looked like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was super great. They're really good over there.
Yeah.
Like, really good. I think I made a comment when I was there, like, they are adapting to certain things that I'm doing that, like, some of the best players don't do.
Did you go there to play this specifically?
Well, I went there to play casuals. I was going to be there for a day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because, it mirrored the same time it was my wedding anniversary. So I'm like, you know what? Got to be respectful.
Yep.
But Gold Card Jack was there. He's from the UK. He was there in France. Kusamondo, who's the best E-Honda in the world, he was there. Got to play against him for quite a few matches.
What would you say is your favorite thing that you've traveled for?
Ooh. Favorite fighting game thing that I've traveled for?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of favorite things.
Yeah.
To travel
well,
for,
I mean,
probably.
obviously, I have to pick a boomer event, right? I have to say one of the boomer events.
I mean,
right?
that's a good pick, though. I mean, I'm not disagreeing on that. Like, Evo last year was amazing.
It was pretty cool. I think, in all honesty, there was a fighting game series right around the time, right before and right when Street Fighter 4 launched, called Seasons Beatings in Ohio, and they now have a sequel series to it.
Okay.
But the original version of Seasons Beatings was in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
And they rented out this like, I forget the place it's called, but it was like it's the equivalent of a really large Panera Bread. But like,
Okay.
it also had a bowling alley attached to it. It also had private karaoke rooms that you could rent out and do like, friendly lobbies with.
This feels like a round one kind of situation.
Kind of was, but it was really, the vibe was really cool.
Okay.
And I went to that tournament twice for Seasons Beatings 3 and 4.
Okay.
And both of those moments are some of my favorite gaming moments. I met some of my best friends there from fighting games. I got to see some incredible, amazing things. Like, I've sent this clip to people when I'm coaching them on fighting games about resilience. I think it was Seasons Beatings 4. Street Fighter 4 had just come out. And for those that don't know, Street Fighter 4, when it came out in Japanese arcades and American arcades for a very small audience, it had 12 of the original Street Fighter 2 characters, so all the original 12 characters, and that had 4 new characters. That was it.
Okay.
In consoles, they added between 8 and 10 other characters. So there were 8 to 10 other characters that the Japanese players, because they were only playing on the arcade version, had no experience with.
Oh, God.
And Daigo was there. Daigo had been personally flown out to play.
Oh.
And he had never played the console version, and that's the version we were all playing. And he was about to do like a 1 to 10 exhibition with Justin Wong.
Okay. All right.
Actually, no, it wasn't the exhibition because that's different. But he's in the tournament with Justin Wong, and he's literally just like, he has a translator with him, and he's trying to ask questions about like the differences of characters, like how does Fei Long work, how does Sakura work, because Sakura wasn't in the arcade version. And the American community, many of the people were like, no, don't tell him anything. Hide the secrets. Don't tell him. He's not one of us. Like, it was like really nasty stuff. So a lot of people blocked Daigo from learning all of the tech. Well, he goes in a tournament and he fights Justin Wong. And he's fighting good old Ryu. He was playing a Ryu. That's all he did back then.
Yep.
And he runs into Justin and he loses his set. But then he comes back again and loses. And you literally see him with no other knowledge, just adapting to the things he's seeing in real time, and then start pressuring, and then suddenly Justin has no idea what to do. And it's a truly amazing thing. It was amazing to be there and watch it. We were all amazed by that individual skill.
That is
to do that.
that is pretty good. I mean, he's not not famous for no reason.
And then in addition to that, on top of that, just unrelated but kind of cool, there was also a $10,000 money match in Marvel.
Oh my God.
I don't know the names of the players because they were kind of no-name players, but they had a grudge. They were like really pissed at each other.
Okay.
And they were playing Marvel vs. Capcom on the Dreamcast, and they both came in with suitcases. I didn't watch. Yeah, they did. It was suitcases of cash. And here's the crazy thing. I asked about it, and they said, yeah, one of the guys actually had an issue in customs. They wouldn't let him bring that much cash in, so he had to declare it and stuff. It was like a big deal.
Oh my God.
It was a nightmare. The match itself, from what I understand, was kind of, it's nothing. It was like nothing happened. I think the one guy got shut out. And what happened was he just kind of gave his cash and just silently walked out of the venue, and that was it.
I think that's what you gotta do, right?
And I'm like, what? So
that's wild.
So nothing against boomers. I love boomers. I've had such amazing time at events. I've loved traveling the world and seeing as many boomer friends as I can, from LA to Birmingham. I love seeing the Birmingham crew. When I got to see all the folks there, got to be in France for a bit, get to go to the New York meetups. I've come to Gio's house a couple times. Always a great time. But I think those moments. Oh,
yep.
Hey,
I know.
Those moments are the ones I love. Like that I'll never forget that tournament.
Yeah. That's really cool. And you finally get to play a different character if you want.
Yeah. All right. How many matches we got?
We can do a few more.
No, I mean, how long did it take for that to happen?
Oh God, we were on match we're almost on match 40, if I remember correctly.
Let's see.
Let's see, it'll tell us right here. 40. Oh God, 49.
Almost 50.
Almost 50. So I took one in a first. So 50 and one. Oh man, Fei Long.
Another thing about Super Turbo, and this is just a scare quote fact. I love every character in this game.
Okay.
I love every character in this game. Sometimes you play a fighting game and you like it, and you don't love every character.
Yep.
Not for me for this game.
I think that's DOA 2 or DOA 3 for me. Mostly because I play them all. That's cool though. Like especially if you've been around for a while and you've been kind of doing this for for that, like to experience like kind of neat things like that is super cool. Like I that's the stuff that I'm what did that parry or would just oh no,
it looks like it. It's just invincible the whole way.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, wow, that was weird. Is this like a Fei Long thing?
So Fei Long has the hardest move, I think, in any Street Fighter game.
Okay.
So he's got this chicken wing, right?
Yep.
It's got a weird motion input. It starts at forward.
Uh-huh.
And you have to hit I believe it's the down back motion and then the down. But you don't have to hit the down forward motion.
Oh.
You don't have to, but you could. And then you have to hit forward and then you have to hit up.
Oh. Okay.
And what makes it tricky is that you have a very small window to do it in. As you can tell, it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, come on. Oh my gosh. Like that.
There it is.
It's very difficult to do because if you do it too late, you'll just jump forward. If you do it too early, you get this move or that move, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But that's not what makes it more difficult. Because the version of the move you want is the roundhouse version.
Oh.
And the roundhouse version of the move and the medium kick version of the move, this is again another super turboism, folks, has a bug. Okay?
Of course.
The roundhouse version, which is the version that you want, only comes out on the first frame.
Oh.
If you don't do it on the first frame that you can do it, guess what you get? You get the light version instead.
Oh. That's
It is the most difficult move because to do it consistently is just brutal.
Here I was thinking that Cammy was difficult.
Cammy is difficult. Every character's got some difficulty. Like that's the other thing. Like to be a character specialist in this game, you get to wear like a badge of honor. Like to take these characters to the nth degree. There's some weirdness with all of them that you just got to figure it out.
Also, first character with a Rekka?
Yes. Oh, I have to. Should I tell the story?
Oh, go for it. You got time, man.
Okay. This is not a one-time story. I get this quite a bit.
Okay.
At least once a year, I run into someone who says, and this is a true story, they say, oh, I only play Rekka characters. I love Rekka characters. And I go, oh, do you play Fei Long? And they say, who's Fei Long?
Oh, no.
And every time I die, because I'm like, that's literally what Rekka means. Oh, nice, nice.
Oh, I'm thrown.
It's called a Rekka Ken.
That is interesting.
Yeah. We are now entering a stage because we're at over 25 years now, 30 years. People don't know the sources of the things that they like, and that source is oftentimes this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, but he has a Rekka in like Street Fighter 4, right? Like.
Yeah. Oh, he's always had a Rekka.
Yeah. So, I mean, though I guess we're talking like some people. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about how old is Street Fighter 4? Oh, I don't want to do that math right now.
Yeah, you don't. 2008.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, we're almost on 20 years now.
Yeah, we are.
Jesus. That's Capcom Fighting Collection 3.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see it.
Gonna be Third Strike in Street Fighter 4.
Hey, maybe Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I'll play that.
Oh man, I played that for the first time at the meetup earlier in the year, and man, I did not. I fell in love with that game so quickly. That game rules. That game rules.
I like it more than Street Fighter 4. Don't tell anyone though.
That's
except for
okay.
everyone watching this podcast.
It was weird because I like Harang, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so playing 2D Harang was really weird.
Playing 2D Tekken characters is weird, isn't it?
It's very weird. But boy, was he a fun little pairing with Juri, so that worked out. You know, I got to play the Taekwondo duo. That was fun. It really does look like he's parrying that because of the startup animation.
Doesn't it? It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Maybe that's where the idea for parrying came in.
Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows? So, Scare.
Yes.
Do you have anything that you'd like to plug?
Well, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but, you know.
You do have a YouTube channel. And might I say, I was blown away by your... I mean, not to say, like, that this weird setup already. I was blown away by your editing.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
It was so much fun. I was glued to my chair watching the... Oh man, now I don't remember what the video was though. It was the one you put out recently.
The Art of Video Games?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a blast. Like, that was so well done. Like,
Thank you.
I appreciated the kind of... There was a beautiful manicness to it at times.
Nice.
Which
yeah.
I think you were definitely probably going for. But it was great. I enjoyed, because did you put that out in response to Capcom finding all that missing artwork for Street Fighter?
No. It was a response to a lot of things, but if you remember from the video, I keep calling out Nintendo that you download the Nintendo Music app. Till this day,
that's right.
They do not credit any of their artists.
That's right.
And it's like, these are people that made this thing. You know, like, let's remember that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the timing of that coming out now. Because I thought the Nintendo Music app was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, is her name Yoki? Is that the original Street Fighter 2 composer?
Yoko Shimomura.
Oh, Yoko.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
How are you feeling about her return to Street Fighter? The Street Fighter.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. You know. I mean, I adore. I mean, the Street Fighter 2 soundtrack is one of the greatest gaming soundtracks ever. It's so iconic. It's so great. And she did it once and just, you know, dropped the mic and never did it again, right? So it's just really cool to see her, you know, add that flair. Although, fun fact, if you're interested.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're here for, man.
Yeah. So, Yoko Shimomura, fantastic composer. She went on to make many wonderful RPG soundtracks, including Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
If you listen to the Street Fighter 2 character select screen music, the good old and then right afterwards you listen to the Kingdom Hearts Night of Fate theme.
Okay.
They're like the same song.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
identical. They are so similar.
Do that homework.
Yeah.
There's an Instagram reel going around that somebody sent me recently of a comedian talking about voice acting.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, these are people with, like, jobs and, like, lives and stuff. And then, like, one day...
yeah, Pete Holmes. I love that.
Okay, so you've seen this. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
And so I responded to the person who sent that to me. And I was like, fun fact, all of those voices were done by a woman.
Yes, they were.
And that person was like, wait, really?
Yep.
I was like, yep. Like, that was just... They only had the composer. And she did all of every sound effect in the game. So that was fun. It was a fun little bit of knowledge to share. I don't think they'll...
Zero Pixel. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Magic Pixel Land.
That's Super Turbo. More matches than not end in Zero Pixel.
Oh, really?
And that's the magic. Yeah. because the RNG just kind of has this weird peculiarity where it just won't quite kill you. It just wants you to stay alive for like one more hit.
just so you can suffer.
Yeah.
Crosscuts in this game are not easy.
Yeah, I hardly ever do them.
Oh, that's bad for me. But yeah, the music stuff for this game in particular, I while I will agree, like it is classic, I think
sick.
I think Alpha 2's soundtrack is my favorite Street Fighter soundtrack.
Yeah, but it also builds on the foundation of Street Fighter 2. Right?
That's fair. That's fair. It does. It does. I just think Sakura's theme is maybe one of the most.
What a great theme.
I literally
Ken's theme's great. Ryu's theme, Sagat's remix theme is great. Gosh, they're all so good.
But when the jukebox mode in Street Fighter 6 is like the best thing ever, because sure enough, man, like on my jury playlist, which is weird, I have Sakura's theme for that, and I also have Violent Ken's theme. But ooh, that was what was that? What was that hitbox?
Yeah, that happens.
That was weird. Why can I sweep cancel into Tatsu? I'm just learning these things now. You know why? It's because we've been talking. Oh right, the Japanese version. I was like, wait, hang on a second. So is the crazy kicks thing here? Oh no, that's a never mind. It's a command. Not a. This is just close. Like
it's a special move. It's a special move, yeah. It's
quarter circle.
So
forward.
he's got three. He's got quarter circle forward. He's got half circle forward. Then he's got forward to down.
Oh, what?
Forward to down, like a reverse quarter circle.
Wait.
And I need you to do this. When you do it, just tap the button. Don't hold the button.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay.
All of them can be canceled into the overhead, which is by holding the button.
Oh, interesting.
So he's got 4.
Man, okay, so this is the invention of Jinrai.
Basically, yeah.
Got it. So you have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
You're readily available to talk fighting game history with people on FGCB.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah,
I have another video in the pipeline. Not to get people too excited, but it's been a while. But I spent a lot of time working on my videos, so hopefully it'll be worth it. But something's coming, so stay tuned.
Hey, you're still better than most H-Bomber guy YouTube videos.
Well, I want to make it clear I make the videos because I like to make them.
Yes,
I'm not
exactly.
in it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm just trying to.
But still.
Do something cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other parting thoughts as we finish up here? We'll play one more set after this one.
Yeah. Let me think. It's really difficult to be someone who loves Street Fighter 2 as much as I do and advocate for it and love it, and have people not go, "Oh, you're just the crazy Street Fighter 2 guy." I recognize that, but I mean, there truly is something special about this game. I think many people should play it. People who go, I'm not into the graphics, I'm not into that, sorry. I've had a couple people tell me, you know what, I can't do pixel graphics. I've had some people say, you know what, I can't play a game where frame data isn't that important. I need frame data.
Yeah.
And I need to just kind of, in whatever way you can, try to give yourself permission to play any version of Street Fighter 2, but especially Super Turbo. It has stood the test of time for a reason. It is phenomenal. It has some of the best character expression of any fighting game I've ever played. It still, to this day, has that level of tension, as we just saw, where I want to hesitate my movements ever so slightly, so the RNG gods praise me, but at the same time, I don't want to hesitate too much and die, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is a lot of the problems that people are complaining about right now with modern fighting games were solved here. Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of interesting going back to the kind of recreating old problems because of new things. Yeah. Fair
And
enough.
as someone who likes to study the history, I do have to say, you know, I've never seen a fighting game solve a brand new problem. Like, I've never seen a new fighting game come out and like, oh my gosh, that completely, all fighting games are demonstrably better now because of it. I haven't seen it. All I ever see is they keep moving the totem pole. They keep moving where the point of inflection is for all these systems to come through.
Yeah.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, when you do that, then new problems arise and you have to solve those problems.
Right.
So, but yes, I love Super Turbo. It is a game that will not let go of me for some reason. I think everyone should give it a go.
Yeah.
And anyone wants a primer on how to play any of the characters, I play them all. More than happy to show you the stuff. And Super Turbo for life, yo.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, thanks, man, for the time. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
for the great games.
yeah, I'll play every Street Fighter ever. I don't care. I love them all.
Yeah.
But wow, the CPU just pulling out that combo there. That was pretty sick.
Yeah. The CPU does not mess around.
I learned that when you paid me or donated like $200 for me to play through the story mode of this game.
I gave it to you because I knew it was going to take you a while.
It took a while. But I did get through it.
Nice.
But yeah, thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you later. What a perfect
Take
ending
care, all.
screen.
Of course. Cheers, all.
Bye.